Hey guys, this is Camfrey15. I am back at it with another video for you guys, and I am back with another Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2 episode review. Man, this episode, was really freaking good. I'm not gonna lie. The last 5 minutes of this episode were like A+ material. Like, it was that freaking good. Honestly, when I was watching this, I'm like, bro, why does this feel like a season finale? The way the episode ended off felt like it was the end to a season finale, especially with the way how they handled the credits and everything. I'm like, bro, how can you, how are they gonna continue after this? Well, I'm glad they are, but still, I'm like, this really felt like end of a season right here. This felt like the end of season 2. But yes, it was a good episode. I really enjoyed this episode from beginning to end. The ending just made my heart just feel so good, and stuff like that. So anyways, let's get into the episode. So the first part of the episode is centered around Yotsuba essentially kind of trying to get off the track team. The thing is, the track team's about to go leave for their little essentially track camp or whatever they have to go do. And what happens is, each has to go find Miku, and eventually what they do in the reason of having each go find Miku, they have Futaro essentially makes Itsuki pretend to be Yotsuba. So what happens in this whole ideal, but before we get to that, we cut back to the scene where Miku goes to Nino's apartment, or not her apartment, her new hotel room and stuff like that. Now Miku's still trying to convince her to go home, but she's not budging. She's like, no, I don't want to go home and stuff like that. And then essentially the reason why we found out that Miku knows where Nino's new hotel was at is because after the incidents of last week's episode, Miku saw Nino walking out of the hotel, and I'm guessing followed her all the way to the next hotel and stuff like that. Now, Nino actually does tell Miku what Futaro did, but Miku's like, well, yeah, Miku's essentially like not kind of fazed by it. She's like, well, okay, that's fine. But obviously Miku knew that what Futaro was doing was all because of him caring about the sisters and them wanting to be together and stuff like that. And it's funny because Nino even brings up a point. Is like, yeah, he told me we all have to be together to study, and it kind of took Miku aback, and again furthers the whole Miku type of thing where she has feelings for him, and stuff like that. And essentially what Miku kind of goes on to tell Nino, like, listen, you can think that, yes, we're all identical and we all have changed, but to think that we went on like different paths opposed to you, listen, you've changed in your own ways as well. So, don't say like you haven't changed at all. And like they use the example of tea, for example, like she didn't ever like drinking black tea. And they did have a funny thing about like a tea leaves or something like that. So yeah. Anyways, cutting back to what was going on with the Yotsuba situation, Itsuki pretends to be Yotsuba, and when essentially Futaro kind of pretends to be like some sort of groper, Yotsuba chases after him, Itsuki comes in, and the thing is, we all know like the trope is people can never figure out, the sisters and which one is which. Well, the team captain easily saw that Itsuki was not, Yotsuba. She's like, bro, your hair is longer than Yotsuba's. And I'm like, well, at least we don't have a complete dumbass of a freaking person. But then when it looks like everything's, essentially breaking down, it seems like it's all gonna lose. What it looks like to be Yotsuba essentially, shoots down the captain saying yada yada yada. Like, why are you holding exams? Why are you holding this camp before exams and stuff like that? He gives a creepy look. We later find out that it was actually Nino, because Nino cut her hair short. And I'm not gonna lie, she looks hot as hell with a new haircut. Also too, in Japan, the meaning of getting a haircut is like a meaning of starting a new life, essentially. So it feels like Nino's kind of, starting a new life essentially like that, which is pretty cool. I do like Nino's new haircut. It does make her look, distinctively different, but still looks, I would say, cute and adorable. This episode, Nino was adorable and cute. She was great this episode. So what happens is, they go back to the apartment, and essentially it's like the last couple of days before their finals and stuff like that. And essentially Futaro also gives them a nice little cheat sheet. He's like, don't open it, but regardless, do your work and I'll give it to you and stuff like that. So they go and get ready to do the finals because it's the day of the finals. And essentially Futaro's like, look, when you guys are together, you guys can beat anything, you put your mind to and stuff like that. He later called his dad, and then what, happens next is we see that this quintessential quintuplets, the sisters, they all flunked the hell out of the test like we know they did. It looked like they did somewhat slightly better, but they still didn't get good grades. And they're like, man, when he comes over, he's gonna freaking give us an earful. So when the doorbell rings, they open the door, and their butler named Ibata essentially shows up, and he says that he's gonna be their tutor. And essentially the reason why, because all the sisters are all shocked, which even shocks them more, Ibata essentially says that Futaro quit his tutoring job and stuff like that, and he quit it on his own accord. And all the sisters are kind of just thrown away and thrown back and just shocked, and they all look sad in their own ways, and they're like, why would he do this and stuff like that? We later also find out that the dad also barred him from going to their house. So that means he can't really see them at their house anymore because he didn't fulfill his job to get them to pass their test and stuff like that. So yeah, and it's a really low point. So you have the sisters do their work, and eventually it comes to the point where they're like, screw this. Let's use the cheat sheet because this is the only way we're gonna get past this. And this little cheat like slip had messages to all the sisters essentially. And they passed it all around. Essentially, the first part of the message was Futaro essentially saying, I ain't gonna tutor no cheaters and stuff like that, so don't take shortcuts and everything. Then the last part is him saying, I hated this thing, this was utter hell, but the last thing which Itsuki reads, essentially says, even though this was hell, it was fun at the least, and he's like, peace, and stuff like that. So that's when, you see like a few day time skip when it gets to Christmas Eve. And essentially we see Futaro again, and it looks like he's got himself an actual job where he's working at some sort of restaurant or bakery or something like that. Again, I don't know why this bakery is working so late on freaking Christmas Eve. I don't know what time it is when that was going on. It could have been like 6 or 7. But eventually his boss is like, no, you go ahead and you go enjoy your Christmas and stuff like that. And as he's walking with the quintuplets, he's essentially telling them the truth of why he quit. One, we find out that the quintuplets have a new tutor. We later find out was like a super smart professor from like a university in Tokyo. But we find the reason, Futaro tells them like why he quit. And the reason why he essentially quit is he felt like he can't let them suffer because he was being too selfish. Now, at first, I would say when we go back to season 1, yes, he was being really selfish. But when you see the latter half of season 1, and then even in the first couple of episodes in season 2, you can really see that he's really opened up to the sisters, even though he knows that they're not the best students. He's opened up to them, and he's actually being more caring, and he actually. Then it especially goes back to the situation he did where he tried to get the sisters all come back together to study. It shows that he really did care about them and he wants what's best for them instead of being, selfish and stuff like that. And, you have this moment where, Ichika essentially tells him, yeah, guess what? Yeah, you can't go to our old house, but I actually rented out a new place. So this is our new house for the time being because I have a stable income to pay rent for the house. And that's when they all throw their like little key cards. And Futaro's trying like, what the hell are you doing? He's trying to catch it. And then, you see him essentially fall into the water and he's like, is this how I'm going to freaking like, is this how my story ends? Is this how I'm going to die or something like that? They're just gonna forget about me. And we get probably one of the best scenes in the series when they all collectively, all the sisters collectively jump in the ocean or in the water together with Futaro, which goes to show you that they really do care about him and they really do want him to be their tutor, because they even go mention, like, even though we're still dumb, some of these questions are still pretty simple enough that we know what they are. And you know, he's done so much for us, even though at some parts we hated it. So I do like the fact that they built the relationship up to the point where the sisters, you know, they may get annoyed with his antics from time to time, but in the bottom depths of their heart, they really do appreciate what Futaro has done for them, because he's changed all their lives, you know, and stuff like that. And he's actually, even though they're not good, he kept the sisters motivated to continue to keep trying again and, you know, keep working. And the fact that, you know, the fact that they just want him to be their tutor goes to show you how much they really do care about Futaro. Now, we also see that Nino can't swim, and essentially Futaro goes over. One thing we see is the little, I guess, academic thing, what they called it, the little thing that was wrapped up. Futaro was trying to reach for it and potentially maybe open it up, but then Nino obviously can't swim. He goes over to help Nino, and then this is when, you know, he says something to Nino. He's like, hey, it's okay, I got you. You know, I'll take you to shore so you're safe and everything. And you see her close, and they close up on Nino's face, and it's, uh-oh. She's got the feelings for my boy Futaro. So now you all not only got Miku, who is simping over him, it seems like Nino is going to start simping over him now, because they give two hints in this scene that now, what is it? Because even after when they get out of the water, Futaro was like, okay, I'm going to tutor you guys, and I'm going to tutor you guys my way, and if it's selfish, then so be it. And essentially, this is like, well, we want to have it any other way. And and Nino turns her head a bit, and she's blushing all out this entire scene and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, she's definitely, and I mean, she's definitely in love with Futaro now. So that definitely could be a side plot where, you know, she now has got the feelings for Futaro. Well, Futaro pick it up. Usually in these harem shows, the main character is so fucking dumb that they never pick it up. But honestly, I'm down to see a Nino x Futaro. Honestly, to be honest, I kind of shipped them at the start. I just feel like if they, I just feel like the sister he might end up marrying is probably going to be Itsuki. That's just my opinion, but I would be totally fine if it was Nino, because Nino is sweet and she is adorable, and I do like the two relate. I do like the relationship, because Nino's like the girl that hates the dude so much that she won't admit that in reality she really likes him, but she's now catching the feelings, and that's when the episode ends off. But other than that, like I said, it was a really good episode, and I kid you not, when I was watching this, I was like, bro, why does this feel like a season finale? Why does this feel like similar to the season finale of season 1? Like when the sisters were all there for him on his bed when he was sick. It was something similar to this. You know, they were there for him when he looked like he wanted to stop tutoring them. And then they all freaking jump into freaking water. God knows how cold it was already to, you know, not be in the water. They could have all caught some, you know, cold just by falling into the ocean. Trust and believe, I want to be doing that. And yeah, that was so that was a great moment, and honestly, it almost made me shed a tear. And it goes to show you that the quintuplets, even though they're not the smartest, they do care about Futaro, because they do appreciate what he has done for them over the last couple of months. You know, getting them this far and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for next week to see where the story goes on now. So other than that, I'm MacGyver. So if you guys liked the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's Quintessential Quintuplets episode, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Quintessential Quintuplets reviews. So then, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. So hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. Until then, guys, peace.